Good afternoon, students. So, in last lecture, we started with new topic air. So, we have seen environment is divided into three components: physical component, biology component, social component. In which we started with physical components, we finished with water, and started with air. So, we have seen air is the immediate environment of man. Apart from supplying life-giving oxygen, it has other functions like human body cooling, special senses of hearing and smell function through air transmitted stimuli, and also conveying disease agents. Pollution of air by dust, smoke, toxic gases and chemical vapors result in sickness and death. Human being needs continuous supply of air, and it is of 10 to 20 m³ per day. We have seen composition of air. The mainly air is composed of nitrogen. Maximum is nitrogen, that is 78.1%. Oxygen comprise 20.93%. Carbon dioxide 0.03%, and other gases which occur in traces like argon, neon, krypton, xenon and helium, and some other contents also like water vapor, traces of ammonia, suspended matter such as dust, bacteria, spores, vegetative debris. So this is diagrammatic presentation. We have seen air is impaired by respiration of men and animals, combustion of coal, gas, oil, decomposition of organic matter, trade, traffic and manufacturing process, which gives off dust, fumes, vapors and gases. But there is some self-cleansing mechanism of nature which pures the air, that are wind. Wind dilutes and sweeps away the impurities by its movements. Sunlight, the atmospheric temperature and sunlight play their own part by oxidizing impurities and killing the bacteria. Third one is rain, which cleanses the atmosphere by removing suspended and gaseous impurities. And most important, plant life. The green plant utilizes carbon dioxide and generate oxygen. So we have seen all these things. Then we have seen the air of occupied room. The occupied room air changes like chemical changes and physical changes. Chemical changes means increased carbon dioxide and decreased oxygen. Physical changes mean rise in temperature, increase of humidity, decrease in air movement, body odors and bacterial pollution, which leads to decreased comfort, decreased health, decreased efficiency, feeling of suffocation, discomfort, complaints like headache, drowsiness, inability to concentrate. Also there is a risk of droplet infection and decreased resistance to disease. So this we have seen. We have seen about discomfort. Then we have seen indices of thermal comfort, which are air temperature and humidity, cooling power, effective temperature, and last one is corrected effective temperature. We have seen about McArdle's maximum allowable sweat rate, that is P4SR, predicted 4 hours sweat rate. Then last topic was comfort zone. Till here we have completed yesterday. Today we will start with air pollution. So what is air pollution? The phenomenon called pollution is an inescapable consequence of presence of man and his activities. So what is pollution? It is an inescapable, means unavoidable, and which occurs due to presence of man and his activities. Some consequences we can stop, we can avoid, but like respiration we cannot avoid. It also causes impurity of air. So it is inescapable. It is inescapable consequence of presence of man and his activities. The term air pollution signifies, this is important definition, the term air pollution signifies the presence in the ambient atmosphere of substance. The presence in the ambient, that is surrounding atmosphere of substance, example gases, mixture of gases and particulated matter, which is generated by the activities of man. Means the presence of some substance like gases which is generated by activities of man in a concentration that interfere with human health, safety and comfort, or it is injurious to vegetation and animals and other environmental media, which results in chemicals entering the food chain or being present in a drinking water and thereby constituting additional source of human exposure. Means air is the first exposure and second one is drinking water or food. So the definition of air pollution: the presence in the ambient atmosphere of substance, means presence of some substance, for example some gases or mixture of gases, which is generated by activities of man. See, it is very simple. Presence of substance which is generated by activities of man and it is in concentration that interfere with human health, their safety and their comfort, or they are injurious to vegetations and animals or some other environmental media, and which results in chemicals entering the food chain or in the drinking water and thereby constituting additional source of human exposure. It is very important definition for 2 marks. The direct effect of air pollutants on plants, animals and soil can influence the structure and function of ecosystem, including self-regulation ability, thereby affecting the quality of life. So air pollution is one of the present day health problem throughout the world and it is inescapable, unavoidable. So before going in detail about air pollutants, what is air pollution, there are some few basic principles which we have to know. So first one is air pollutant. What is air pollutant? So air pollutant may be either emitted into the atmosphere or formed within the atmosphere itself. So there are 2 types of air pollutants which may be either emitted into the atmosphere or formed within the atmosphere itself. So first one is primary air pollutants. Primary air pollutants are those that are emitted into the atmosphere from a source such as factory chimney or exhaust pipe or through the suspension of contaminated dust by the wind. So it is emitted into the atmosphere from a source. It not forms within the atmosphere, it is emitted into the atmosphere from a source such as factory chimneys, exhaust pipes, or through the suspension of contaminated dust by the wind. As it is generated, it is possible to measure the amount emitted at the source itself. So the primary air pollutant, it is measurable. So we can measure the primary air pollutants, how much it is emitted into the atmosphere. Second one is secondary air pollutants. Secondary air pollutants are those formed within the atmosphere itself. Means it forms in the atmosphere. Primary was it is emitted into the atmosphere from another source. Secondary air pollutants are those formed within the atmosphere itself. They arise from chemical reactions of primary pollutants, possibly involving the natural components of atmosphere, especially oxygen and water. So secondary air pollutants are those formed within the atmosphere itself, and they arise from chemical reactions of primary pollutants. Primary pollutants which emitted from another source, and possibly involving the natural components of atmosphere, especially oxygen and water. The most familiar example of secondary pollutant is ozone, which arises almost entirely from chemical reactions that differ with altitude within the atmosphere. Because of this mode of formation, secondary pollutants cannot readily be included in emission inventories. So it is not direct measurable as primary pollutants. Primary pollutants are direct measurable through the inventories, but it is very difficult because it is chemical reaction of primary pollutant. Although it is possible to estimate formation rates per unit volume of atmosphere per unit time. So how it is measured? It is estimated formation rates per unit volume of atmosphere per unit time. Third concept is gaseous air pollutants. So gaseous air pollutants are those which are present as gases or vapors. Gaseous air pollutants are those which are present as a gases or vapors. That is, as individual small molecules capable of passing through filters, provided they do not absorb to or chemically react with filter medium. Which filters? Respiratory filters, human respiratory filters. So gaseous air pollutants are very small molecules capable of passing through filters provided they do not absorb or chemically react with filter medium. So, gaseous air pollutants are readily taken into the human respiratory system. Although, if water soluble, they may very quickly be deposited in the upper respiratory tract and not penetrate to the deep lung. Means they are capable of passing only upper respiratory tract filters. They are not able to penetrate deep lung. So many allergic substances which are present in the form of gases or vapors are these gaseous air pollutants. These are readily taken into the human respiratory system and they very quickly deposited in the upper respiratory tract and they are not able to penetrate to the deep lungs. Next one is particulate air pollutants. Particulate air pollutants comprise of material in solid or liquid phase. Gaseous was in gas or vapors. Particulate air pollutants comprise of materials which are in solid or liquid phases, which suspends in the atmosphere. Such particles can be either primary or secondary. Means they can be emitted from sources or can be formed within the atmosphere and they cover the wide range of sizes. Newly formed secondary particles means which forms within the atmosphere can be as small as 1 to 2 micrometer in diameter, while coarse dust and sea salt particles can be as large as 100 micrometer in diameter. Please note, 1 micrometer is 1 millionth of meter. That is 1 micron is equal to 0.001 millimeter. So see the size of particles. Secondary particles are 1 to 2 micrometer in diameter and the coarse dust or sea salt particles are as a 100 micrometer in diameter. The next concept is local scale. It depends on the particle's lifetime. So local scale, some pollutants by virtue of their source or of having a very short atmospheric lifetime. See the lifetime of local scale particles. These are very short atmospheric lifetime, are only encountered in a appreciable concentration close to where they are emitted. Means as they are having very short lifetime, they present only in the local area where they are produced. For example, in less developed countries, poorly controlled household and neighborhood sources, often involving the burning of biomass fuels, which causes serious local pollution. As these particles has very short atmospheric lifetime, they can cause only a local pollution. So it is called as local scale. Second one is urban scale. These are pollutants from urban sources. The name itself suggests urban, city area, urban area. So pollutants from urban sources such as nitrogen oxide and carbon monoxide generated by road traffic tend to be present at high concentration through the city and at significantly reduced concentration in the adjacent rural areas. So pollutants from urban sources such as nitrogen oxides and carbon monoxides which are generated by road traffic, these are tend to present at high concentration throughout the city and in low concentration in rural areas. Their lifetime are not long but typically few hours, and therefore the concentration in remote background atmosphere tend to be very low. So the particles which produced in the urban areas are also having lifetime of few hours. So their concentration is maximum in the city, and till they travel to the rural areas, as their lifetime is very few hours, so their concentration decreases in the remote areas or in the rural areas. Next is regional scale. Regional scale, pollutants in the form of fine particles, that is less than 2.5 micrometer diameter but not ultra fine, and some gas phase pollutants such as ozone have an atmospheric lifetime of days or even weeks. See the local scale particles having lifetime very short, urban scale having lifetime of few hours, and regional scale having lifetime of days or even weeks, which permits them transported on a regional scale. So pollutants such as sulfate particles and ozone, they readily travel thousands of kilometers in a process known as long range transport. They can cross national boundaries also because their lifetime is of days or even weeks. So they can be transmitted for the thousands of kilometers. The next concept is hemispheric and global scale. Some pollutants, and especially those associated with greenhouse warming effects like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide and methane, they have atmospheric lifetime of years, and therefore they are capable of distribution throughout a hemisphere and ultimately globally can transmitted. So we have seen some basic concepts. What are those? First is primary air pollutants. Primary air pollutants are those which are emitted into the atmosphere from a source, like from factory or from exhaust pipes, So as their source is fixed, we can measure the amount of emitted particles. Second one is secondary air pollutants. These are the pollutants those formed within the atmosphere itself, and they arise from the chemical reaction of primary pollutants, especially with oxygen and water. These are difficult to measure but can be estimated as a formation rates per unit volume of atmosphere per unit time. Next concept is gaseous air pollutants. These are in the form of gases or vapors, and these are capable of passing through filters. So they are readily taken into the human respiratory system and very quickly deposited in the upper respiratory tract, but they are not able to penetrate deep lung. Next concept was particulate air pollutants. These are material in solid or liquid form. This can be primary or secondary. The secondary particles which are formed, they can be as small as 1 to 2 micrometer in diameter, while coarse dust and sea salt particles are of 100 micrometer in diameter. We have seen about local scale. These are pollutants which have very short atmospheric lifetime. Example of this, burning of biomass fuels, which causes serious local pollution. As their lifetime is very short, they cannot travel long distance, so they cause only local pollution. Urban scale, their lifetime is for few hours, so they can transmit from urban areas to rural areas, but their concentration is high in the urban areas and low in the rural areas. Next one is regional scale. Their lifetime is days or even weeks, so they can travel thousands of kilometers because of their lifetime. Next one is hemispheric and global scale, like greenhouse warming effects. Their lifetime is of years, so they are capable of distribution throughout the hemisphere and global distribution. Then what are the sources of air pollution? We have seen some basic concepts. Now we will see about sources of air pollution. The main sources of air pollution are as follows. First one is automobile. Motor vehicles are the major source of air pollution throughout the urban areas. They emit hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, lead, nitrogen oxide, and some particulate matter. So motor vehicles are the major source of air pollution. In strong sunlight, certain of these hydrocarbons and oxides of nitrogen may be converted into the atmospheric photochemicals pollutant, which are of oxidizing nature. In addition, diesel engines, when misused or badly adjusted, are capable of emitting black smoke and malodorous fumes. So motor vehicles are major source of air pollution. Second source is industries. Industries emits large amounts of pollutants into the atmosphere. Combustion of fuel to generate heat and power produces smoke, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, and fly ash. Petrochemical industries generate hydrogen fluoride, hydrochloric acid, and organic halides. Many industries discharge carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, even ozone, hydrogen sulfide, and sulfur dioxide. Industries discharges their waste from high chimneys at high temperature and high speed. The domestic sources: domestic combustion of coal, wood, or oil is a major source of smoke, dust, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxide. Then tobacco smoke, the most direct and important source of air pollution affecting the health of many people, is tobacco smoke. Even those who do not smoke may inhale the smoke produced by others, which is known as passive smoking. Then miscellaneous. These comprise burning refuse, incinerators, pesticides, spraying, natural sources like wind-borne dust, fungi, molds, bacteria, and some nuclear energy programs. All these contribute to air pollution. So miscellaneous sources, this comprise of burning refuse, incinerators, pesticides, spraying, natural sources like wind-borne dust, fungi, molds, bacteria, and some nuclear energy programs. All these contribute to air pollution. Then meteorological factors. Meteorology means topography of area or air movements or climate factors. So meteorological factors. Although the Earth's atmosphere extends to several layers above the surface, it is only the first 30 km that hold the major portion of atmospheric gases. So mainly atmospheric gases are present only in 30 km area above the earth surface, and in that also man is most directly concerned with only 8 to 10 km of atmosphere. The level of atmospheric pollution at any one time depends upon meteorological factors. For example, topography, air movements, and climate. The wind helps in the dispersal and dilution of pollutants. But if the topography is dominated by mountains or tall buildings, the wind becomes weak and calm, and due to that pollutants tend to concentrate in the breathing zone. So here topography means mountains, which are tall mountains or some tall buildings which do not allow wind to travel, so that wind becomes weak and calm. So pollutants tends to concentrate in the breathing zone. The vertical diffusion of pollutants depend upon the temperature gradient. When there is a rapid cooling of lower layer of the air, that is temperature inversion, there is a little vertical motion and pollutants and water vapor remains trapped at the lower levels and results in smog. Smog means smoke plus fog. So due to rapid cooling of the lower layer of air results in formation of smog. So the temperature inversion, which most frequently occur in the winter months than spring or summer, and it is threat to human health because it is not only fog, it is smoke plus fog. So pollutants plus water vapors, so they are having adverse effects for human health. So we have seen sources of air pollution. Then what are air pollutants? So there are more than 100 substances which pollutes air, which have been identified. In that, the important ones are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, nitrogen oxides, fluorine compounds, organic compounds. Example of organic compounds: hydrocarbons, aldehydes, ketone, organic acids, metallic contaminants like arsenic, zinc, iron, which mainly resulting from smelting operations, then radioactive compounds and photochemical oxidants such as ozone. So there are more than 100 substances. Important one are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, nitrogen oxide, fluorine compounds, organic compounds, metallic contaminants, radioactive compounds and phytochemical oxidants. These are important. Also, other includes asbestos, beryllium, mercury, benzene, fluorides, vinyl chloride, lead and radiations. Contaminants differ greatly from place to place depending upon specific complex of contaminant source. Also, pollutants may be in the form of solids, liquids or gases. We have seen combination of smoke and fog. It is called as smog. So, in next lecture, we'll see one by one air pollutant in detail. So, we'll revise today's lecture. So, we started with air pollution today. So, first is, what is air pollution? What is air pollution? The phenomenon called pollution is an inescapable consequence of presence of man and his activities. The term air pollution signifies, this is the definition of air pollution, very important for 2 marks. The term air pollution signifies the presence of substance like gases, mixture of gases and particulate matter which is generated by activities of man. Presence of substance which are generated by activities of man in a concentration that interfere with human health, safety or comfort, or that are injurious to vegetation and animals and other environmental media, resulting in chemicals entering the food chain or being present in drinking water and thereby constituting additional source of human exposure. Why they have seen additional source? Because air is the first source which is hazardous and other sources like food chain and drinking water. So air pollution, it is the presence of substance, you can say harmful substance generated by activities of man in a concentration that interfere with human health, safety or comfort, or that are injurious to vegetations and animals and other environmental media, and resulting in chemicals entering the food chain or being present in drinking water and thereby constituting additional source of human exposure. The direct effect of air pollutants on plants, animals, and soil can influence the structure and function of ecosystem, including self-regulation ability and thereby affecting the quality of life. So air pollution is the one of present day health problem throughout the world. So there are some basic definitions, few basic principles, like air pollutants which may be either emitted into the atmosphere or formed within the atmosphere itself. So first one is primary air pollutants. So primary air pollutants are those that are emitted into the atmosphere from a source, such as factory chimney, exhaust pipe, or through the suspension of contaminated dust by the wind. As it is emitted from the source, it is measurable. Secondary air pollutants are those which are formed within the atmosphere, and they arise from chemical reactions of primary pollutants, mainly involving the natural components of atmosphere, especially oxygen and water. Example of secondary air pollutant, it is ozone. Because it is formed within the atmosphere, so we cannot measure it easily, but can estimate formation rates per unit volume of atmosphere per unit time. And gaseous air pollutants are those which are present in the form of gases or vapors. These are very small molecules capable of passing through filters. So gaseous air pollutants are readily taken into the human respiratory system and quickly deposited into the upper respiratory tract, but they are not able to penetrate deep lung. Then particulate air pollutants. Particulate air pollutants comprises material in solid or liquid form. Such particles can be either primary or secondary, and they cover wide range of sizes. They can be as small as 1 to 2 micrometer, or like coarse dust and sea salt as a 100 micrometer in diameter. Then local scale. These are particles which are having very short atmospheric lifetime. Their example is burning of biomass fuels, which causes serious local pollution. As they have very short lifetime, they cannot travel to a long distance. So they can cause only local pollution. Then urban scale, pollutants from urban sources such as nitrogen oxide, carbon monoxide, mainly generated by road traffic, and they have lifetime of typical some few hours. So they are capable of traveling to the some distance. So their concentration is high in the city or urban area, and their concentration is low in the rural areas, because they can live, their lifetime is only for few hours. Regional scale, these are fine particles, usually less than 2.5 micrometer. Their lifetime is days or even weeks. So they can travel thousands of kilometers. Their example is sulfate particles and ozone. So they have lifetime of days or weeks. So they can travel thousands of kilometers. Then hemispheric and global scale, some pollutants, especially those associated with greenhouse warming effects, like global warming. Greenhouse warming effects, they have atmospheric lifetime of years. So therefore they can capable of distribution throughout a hemisphere and globally. So these are the particles which are responsible for global warming, like carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide and methane. The sources of air pollution. First one is automobiles. So motor vehicles are the major source of air pollution, mainly in the urban areas. They emit hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, lead, nitrogen oxide and particulate matter. What is the meaning of particulate matter? The particles which are in the form of solids or liquids. In strong sunlight, certain hydrocarbons and oxides of nitrogen may convert into the atmospheric photochemicals, like ozone. Photochemicals are ozone. In addition, diesel engines, when misused or badly adjusted, are capable of emitting black smoke and malodorous fumes. Then industries emits large amounts of pollutants into the atmosphere. Combustion of fuel to generate heat and power produces smoke, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides and fly ash. Petrochemical industries generate hydrogen fluoride, hydrochloric acid and organic halides. Many industries discharge carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, ozone, hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide. Industries discharge their waste from high chimneys at a high temperature and at high speed. Domestic sources. Domestic combustion of coal, wood or oil is a major source of smoke, dust, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides. Then tobacco smoke, the most direct and important source of air pollution affecting the health of many people is a tobacco smoke. Even those who do not smoke may inhale the smoke produced by others. It is known as passive smoking. Then miscellaneous. This comprises burning refuse, incinerators, pesticide spraying, natural sources like wind-borne dust, fungi, molds, bacteria, and nuclear energy programs. All contribute to air pollution. Then meteorological factor. Earth's atmosphere extends to the several layers above the surface, but only first 30 kilometers having atmospheric gases. In that also, man is concerned only with 8 to 10 kilometers of atmosphere. The level of atmospheric pollution at any one time depends upon meteorological factors such as topography, air movement and on climate. As we have seen, wind helps in the dispersal and dilution of pollutants. If the topography is dominated by mountains or tall buildings, the winds become weak and calm, and pollutants tend to concentrate in the breathing zone. The vertical diffusion of pollutants depends upon temperature gradient. When there is a rapid cooling of lower layers of air, there is a little vertical motion and the pollutants and water vapor remains trapped at the lower level in the form of smog. Smog means smoke plus fog. And this temperature inversion, which is more frequent in the winter season, and it is threat to the human health. The next one is air pollutants. There are more than 100 substances which pollutes the air, in which importants are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, nitrogen oxide, fluorine compounds, organic compounds, metallic contaminants, radioactive compounds, photochemical oxidants, etc. Others includes asbestos, beryllium, mercury, benzene, fluorides, vinyl chloride, lead and radiation. Contaminants differ greatly from place to place depending upon specific complex of contaminant source, and it may be in the form of solids, liquids or gases. We have seen combination of smoke plus fog, it is called as smog. So in next lecture we'll see in detail about air pollutants. If any doubt, you can ask me personally or